loves, welcome back to another episode of the Prep Diaries series. In this episode, we are going to do something a little bit different. I am going to go over the 5 things that I would do right now if I wanted to get shredded for summer. And I am doing these things. Look, you might have had the goal of getting shredded for summer for quite some time now. Summer is like halfway over already. It is time to do something now. So we're gonna go over 5 things that you can do immediately to jumpstart your goals of getting shredded for summer. Tip number 1 is to remove temptations. So this is when you go into your pantry, you go into your fridge, and you take an audit of all of the food that you have just lying around. My sister always likes to laugh because when she comes over to my house and she's like, "Do you have a snack?" And she goes into my pantry and fridge, there's nothing. There is nothing. I have my planned out protein, my prepped meals, I have eggs, I have egg whites, I have fruit and berries. I don't just have things that are laying around for me to eat. I don't have bags of chips laying around my house, candy, none of that stuff. And look, I know, there's gonna be people in the comments that are saying like, well, I have kids and blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, your kids don't really need to be eating that stuff either, but that's besides the point. So if you're like me, if it's laying around and I visually see it, I'm going to eat it. If there's ice cream just sitting in my fridge, I'm gonna eat it. If there's a bag of chips in my pantry, I'm going to eat it. So in order to reduce any of that happening, take an audit of the things that you have in your fridge and your pantry. One thing that I like to do, especially like around the holidays, when there's a bunch of food and all of this stuff, and they're like, here, take this home, I will make sure that I give everybody the food. I don't take anything home because I know myself and I know that I'm just going to eat it all and it doesn't align with my goals. So you don't have to throw all this food away, you don't have to waste it, but you can give it to people. I one time went around and I had a bunch of food left over for the holidays and I put it all in this big bag and I just drove around downtown Austin and I gave it away to some homeless people because we don't want to waste any food, but in order to achieve your goals, you need to set your priorities straight, and having all of that stuff around, it's really hard not to eat it, trust me. Now, a tip for if there is food in the house that you have to keep in your house for like your kids or something. We are very visual creatures. So if something is in our eye line and we see it, we are more likely to be like, ooh, I wanna grab that. So move it somewhere else, somewhere higher, somewhere where you don't see it. If you're a shorty like me, moving it somewhere higher is always better because I need to get on a step stool in order to reach most of the things in my house. So put it higher, and now when you open your pantry, it's not in your eye line, it's not the first thing that you see. Another tip that you can do is delete DoorDash, delete Favor, delete Uber Eats, whatever it might be. Go right now, while we're talking, on your phone, delete them off your screen. Same rules apply. If it's there and it's visual and it's convenient, you're more likely to use it. Every time that I go on prep for a show, I delete DoorDash. I just do. Just to remove that temptation of me easily just in a moment of weakness ordering ice cream and a burger and fries, because humans love convenience. That's why we have fast food. That's why we have DoorDash. We have Amazon Prime where things come to our door. So how can we make it easier on you? I like to call these like barriers. Like I'm setting up these little boundaries within myself so that I align with my goals. Tip number 2 is start weighing and tracking your food. There is so many people that don't know how little they're eating or how much they're eating. And if you are wanting to lose weight, you're going to have to know the number of calories that you're eating and where you're getting your foods from, how much protein you're in. And also, if you're wanting to cut down but still maintain muscle mass, you're gonna wanna make sure that you're having enough protein. A good rule of thumb is 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. So if you weigh 145 pounds, typically you'd have about 145 grams of protein a day. I know that that's hard. There's ways that you can put protein in other things so that it's a little easier to get down, but once you get used to it, it gets easier. So this is super simple. Go on Amazon, buy yourself a little kitchen scale. You guys know I have one here all the time. I also have a baby travel one that I bring with me when I'm traveling on prep so that I know how much of each item that I'm eating. Start looking at your nutrition labels. Start looking at the sauces that you're putting on things. There's a lot of hidden calories in things that we're eating that we don't even realize just because we're not paying attention. And one of the most common things that we do as humans is we over and underestimate the amount of food that we're eating. So there'll be times when I first started my fitness journey where I was like, I'm eating healthy. What do you mean? I'm like eating salads, and I'm eating acai bowls and like all of these things that are deemed as healthy, which it's great. There are healthy whole foods and that's what we want to center our meals on. But I had no idea how many calories these things were. There's sometimes that an acai bowl can be anywhere from like 500 to 1,000 calories depending on what's in it. And if you're in a caloric deficit, that is a big chunk of your calories for the day, but you don't know. So start by tracking and weighing your food. An easy way to start doing this is just take one day and start tracking what you're eating. You can either download like MyFitnessPal and just see generally where you're laying at every single day with protein, with carbs, with fat. And then it can give you an idea of how much you're eating, or maybe that you're not actually eating enough. Tip number 3, increase the intensity in which you're training and find ways to move more. So most of us in the gym, I have been guilty of this too, are not training at the level of intensity that we have the potential for. You're on your phone, you're not focused, you go in, you're texting on your phone, it's been 3 minutes between sets, you have already cooled down and relaxed before you go into your next one. When you go to the gym, take that time as your time. Focus on you, track your progress. You watch your clock and you're like, okay, my rest period is over, let's go. That alone will increase the intensity in which you're training because you are more focused and dedicated to each thing that you're doing and you're not on your phone lollygagging walking around the gym. Another thing that you can do is start adding more supersets, adding more drop sets, work at a quicker pace. So a superset is when you do 2 workouts back to back and then you rest. And usually that rest period is a little bit longer because you've done 2 workouts back to back. This can increase your heart rate, which can burn more calories. And another weird thing, I work out in an outdoor gym now, and I have tracked it, and I burn way more calories when I'm working out in an outdoor gym where it's hot and I'm sweating than I do when I'm in a Gold's and there's air conditioning. Now, some things that you can also do that has helped me, if you're able to hire a trainer once a week to push you, to motivate you, to tell you to go past that point when normally you would stop. This has helped me so much because like I've been training for years and I know how to train intensely, but I too like get in a rut and kind of just like pick up the same weight I know I can, maybe do 1 less rep. Sometimes like we do that. And I hired a in-person trainer once a week and he pushes me. There's some times where I don't think I can go heavier. He puts more weight on and I can go heavier. Because when we get uncomfortable and we start feeling that burn and we start feeling our heart rate go up and we're like, oh my God, I don't know I can do this. That is the sweet spot. That's where you want to be. That's where the change happens. That's where you build the muscle. That's when you're burning more calories. That's when you're showing yourself what you're made of. So if you're able to do that, do it. It's so worth it. Another thing that you can do, find an accountability buddy. If you have a friend that's also aligned with your goals or a family member or whatever it might be buddies with each other. Put yourself in a little text stream, motivate each other to stay on track, go to the gym together, because that other person can see you and know like, you can do more. They can also spot you and help you progressive overload. Some things that you can do outside of the gym to get your body moving more. Have a step goal of either 7 to 10K steps a day. Another thing that you can do is start parking further away from places that you're going into, like the grocery store. So one thing that I enjoy doing when I'm on prep is parking a little bit further away when I go in to get my groceries, and then actually going in, like walking around. That's a lot more steps than if I would have just like ordered it. Of course, lately I have been getting in the habit of ordering my groceries because I'm gonna be honest, I haven't had that much time, but we need to make time. You can do this if you go to a mall, park a little further, walk your way up to the top, take the stairs, skip the elevator. There's so many other ways that you can get your step count up that don't even include you being at the gym. Tip number 4, you need to actually be in a caloric deficit, which means you are consuming fewer calories than your body burns. Now, our body burns calories in a number of different ways. One is by exercising, another is digesting food, another is simply resting, another one is like walking around your house or doing dishes, things that aren't too physically taxing on your body. Now, how do we find our caloric deficit? First, you have to find your maintenance level calories. And this is the calories that you eat where you don't gain or lose any weight. Now, I'll pop up one of the simplest equations on the screen to find your maintenance level calories. Now that you have your maintenance level calories, it's time to find your deficit. So for a sustainable weight loss journey, I usually like to cut anywhere between 200 and 350 calories per day. One thing that I see a lot of people do is slash their calories by so much and increase their physical activity by a lot in order to get drastic results really fast. That is not a sustainable way to lose weight. And in my personal experience, when I have done that with myself, it's always led to me going right back to eating whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted. Now that you have your deficit, eat in that deficit for a week, track your progress, track your weight, see how much you've lost, and then assess from there. It can usually take the body anywhere from 7 to 14 days to adjust to the changes that you are making to your diet and nutrition. So give yourself some time, give yourself some grace, because you're doing something that is new and it might be a little bit uncomfortable. Tip number 5 is give yourself a realistic timeline. Please. Trust me, I've done all of the diets, all of the crash diets, and it has always led me to right back where I was when I started. There are no quick fixes. The more sustainable and the longer you choose to have your deficit, the better. I want you to lose weight, but I also want you to keep that weight off. I want to ask you a question. Would you rather lose 30 pounds in 1 month with slashing your calories, increasing your cardio, feeling so fatigued and tired and hangry, and you lose the weight and you look great and you're happy, but gain it all back and then some? Or would you rather take 4 to 6 months of time dedicated to doing a slow and steady deficit and you actually sustain your results afterwards? I think the answer is simple. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and learned a little something something. If all of this seems like a little bit overwhelming and too much and you want someone there guiding you, inspiring you, and motivate you, and a community of women that are on a similar journey to you, you can book a call down in the description with me and my team so that we can chat about your fitness goals. And as always, I love you all so much and you are more powerful than you think. Bye.